I got one thing to say. When I was a kid, my first concert was the Jackson's Triumph Tour. Probably the best and the worst thing that could happen to a person. You see something like that, you know you ain't never gonna see nothing like that great again. Because the Triumph Tour was before the Victory Tour. The Victory Tour was in a stadium. Triumph Tour was in the arena.
Oh, okay.
You know, when something's closed and encapsulated, you can kind of get a better feel. When there's something's in a stadium, it's so big, you got to be like, hey, I can feel it. You know, you can't
feel
make it. But what I experienced in that show, my father put me on. My father's short too. He put me. I was a little small kid or whatever. He put me on his shoulders, and we sat. I mean, excuse me. He stood in the chair. We still ain't bothering. Like nobody said, "Hey, move," or whatever. My dad, the whole 2 hours they was on, Stacey Lattisaw actually opened for the Jackson, and he put me on his shoulder the whole hour and 40 minutes. Didn't complain not one time. Put me on his shoulders, and I watched that show. And I remember he brought my brother and my sister, which I understood my sister, but my brother used to give me hell. To kick me out the room, slide my 8-track player, and and I'd be out in the hallway sleep, listening to Jackson 5 all night, and the Jacksons all night. But I saw that concert, and that was like the great. I remember saving all my allowances so I could buy a tour program and a poster. And it was just like the greatest thing, the biggest thing. And 2019, I got the opportunity to take my father to meet the Jacksons.
Wow.
You want to talk about not a dry? Oh shit, I'm about to cry now. Damn. I thought I could just slip that in without. I took him to see and meet the Jacksons. And we waited. we the only ones that had the credentials, but we was being polite. People was going ahead of us, whatever. It's like, whatever. And my father has health conditions now, so I was almost at my wit's end. So guy does this joint, bypasses one more time, and I said, all right, that's it. Dude went to close the door. I put my foot in that door, swung that door open. I said, yo, whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, listen, we've been super polite. 45 minutes went past. I said, we're the only ones with credentials. Nobody has credentials, but I'm being polite. We came in. It was like, all right, Jackson's over to the left or whatever. So I go in, and I just did an event with Tito a month ago. Actually, on the day that Joe Jackson, like the day after Joe Jackson passed.
Wow.
He was doing a thing with his blues band, and I was working that event. I was his photographer. So I'm going up, and I got I think one of the albums in my hand or whatever. And before I get to say anything, somebody off to the side says, yo, hurry up, or something to that extent. And I just lost it, dropped the albums and ran over there. And, I'm like Mike Tyson in that press conference. You know what I mean? Who said that? You know what I mean? This, that, and the other. And they and Jackie and Marlon over there, like, they could stay as long as they want. They with us, And I told them that story. Jackie was crying. Marlon, I mean, everybody. Security people was crying. And it was a big thing, man. It was a big, and I just, that joy. And then see my father cry, just seeing that happiness,
Yeah.
Because it all started with them for me. And my father was the reason,
Yeah.
And I took him to see Bobby. And we was actually it was close to my dad's birthday. He loved boxing. We were supposed to go to something with Larry Holmes. So, I said, yo, Bob, look, we coming by the hotel, bring him. He was like, all right, no problem. Just, be here at this time or whatever. So we get there, we sit on the balcony, and Bobby's talking to my dad and everything. And, this, that, and the other. And I looked at my dad, I said, yeah, you ready to go? My dad was like, no, I want to go to the show.
Wow.
I said, oh, really? He went there. And, some of the fans, were like, they was talking to my father, you know what I mean? Because they kept coming in. It was like, oh, this is Dad. It was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. I remember before the pandemic, one of the last shows he went to was Karen White in the Whispers or whatever. He sat on the side of the stage or whatever. And I remember afterwards when we left, he said, that woman fine. Then he was asking me like, yo, like, what's up with you and her? It was funny. It was funny, but it's amazing how the people that made, that made my life, that made my career, made me, got to see the person that made me, and he got to see it.
Yeah. What did he make of your career, though? What did they do? When you decided to do this and not finish college, what was his thoughts? And
man, naturally, like any parent, he wasn't super ultra mega supportive. But I remember when he retired, and I had brought some cast members from a show called The Wire to his retirement party, and then the Force and D's performed. The Force and D's performed, and then they did. My father's a big Smokey Robinson fan, and they did Tracks of My Tears.
Wow.
And I saw his face, and they presented him with a platinum plaque and everything. He knew, like, damn, okay. You know what I mean? And then, like, we would have people come by his house, that he'd be like, wow, you understand what I'm saying? Actors, you name it. Everybody come by the house,
wow.
When he see stuff like that, he'd just be like, wow,
Yeah, and one of the things that I noticed within this culture in outside of Africa is that the Black father role model it's been taken away, and it's very rare that I hear a lot of people talk about their fathers in their lives. Being my dad was in my life completely, so that's a very different case. But when I moved to the States, it was rare to have Black men to have their fathers present and from start to finish.
My father has been a father. A lot of things you didn't understand, you didn't get. They all come 360 when you become older. And my father wasn't just a father. My father was. I was telling somebody earlier today. My two older sisters has his last name. My oldest brother got his last name. Like he didn't. He was a father. You understand what I'm saying? It's seven of us.
Wow.
He raised every one of them. We never was allowed to say that's my step, that's my this. There ain't no half. It's 100%.
Wow.
We got Hughes in Japan right now. You understand? We got Hughes all over this country. But yeah, my father was a father. He showed me, sometimes you ain't got to talk about it, just do it, And he did it. Far from perfect, but he did it, and because of him, I think I did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I got one in college, one graduated college and lives in Texas. 27 and 19-year-old.
Wow.
And I raised like 4. You understand what I'm saying? I took custody of my niece and nephew when I was 28.
Wow.
Yeah.
My goodness. Oh, because this was your cousin that passed away, his kids?
This was my nephew. This is my sister's son.
Okay, sister. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Life-changing event, but like I said, I did, like I said, parenting ain't for everybody, but like I said, I think the media does a terrible job representing Black fathers, and they just, every chance they get, they tear down Black men.
Yeah.
And then they leave the caucus for us to pick off of and say things about. And I always try and tell people this too. Working in television, film, and video, and music, and entertainment, sports, working in that, I know how it operates. When you watch a documentary, that is what they want you to see. They have dedicated 60 minutes and a gang of hours into editing and spicing something to bend the narrative to what they want you to see. You always have to do the research for yourself, and you can't judge people on these things because, I look at what they did to Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Here was this guy, he was the first of his kind of child, that proficient, that great, a master at what he did, at what he was blessed to do, shared that gift with the world, and the world just turned on him and tried to destroy him. And all he wanted to do was share that gift and pretty much, live his life.
Yeah.
And they just wouldn't let him do it.
Yeah.
I think another thing you always like to talk about is comparison is the thief of joy. Two people are not the same. I always tell people, man, be blessed that you was in an era where you could see a Prince and a Michael Jackson. They are two different people, two different styles, never even to be compared. Enjoy that.
Yeah.
Enjoy that talent. I remember so many years, who's better? You look at sports, LeBron or Kobe, LeBron or Jordan or Kobe. I came from the Julius Erving, the Dr. J era. You know what I mean? In my opinion, I loved him. I loved Kobe. I loved them all. But they really weren't the same people at the same time. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm cool enough. Like, listen, I met Muhammad Ali.
Wow.
I met Muhammad Ali. He signed his pamphlet for me. And it was funny because he was getting mobbed. And you know what I did? I got on my hands and knees and crawled through the crowd until I hit his pants leg. And then I stood up and I recited every rap that Muhammad Ali ever did. And he just stopped and looked at me, put me in a headlock and said, "You stay right here." And let me hang out with him the whole day. You understand what I'm saying? And he signed his pamphlet. I still got framed. And I'm like, I just look at that. I met, Mike Tyson, but never in my life I'd said, I mean, who went between Muhammad Ali and Mike? They were two different people, two different boxers in two different eras.
Yeah.
Greatness. I remember when we was at the New Edition when they got their star on the Walk of Fame. And I was under the water. I was sick as a dog that day. But I remember being out there in that cold rain, and I saw Sugar Ray Leonard. And I remember me and my father watching him box. And I seen Sugar Ray Leonard, this guy, like he aged a day. And he was just so cool, man. But I got like super emotional, like, amongst everything that was happening, was like, man. And then I'm thinking all the people like, damn, I wish my dad could have been here. I'm thinking wishing my nephew, God rest his soul, could have been to see that, But, it's just one of those things, man. But, like I said, I never sit there and say, well, would Floyd be able to beat Sugar Ray? No, man, listen. There was different times, different eras. Life is short, man. We got to sit back and live and enjoy these people that got these talents, man. Enjoy them.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, to press the notification bell so that you can be notified when we do have a new interview. Loads to come, but thanks a lot for watching.